Good evening, and welcome back to the Not So Perfect Bigfoot Show. Today, I'm very excited about my guest, Jason Kenzie. And one of the reasons I wanted to bring Jason on, I see his work a lot in the Bigfoot community. My husband actually met him at a meet and greet that I was supposed to be at, but I'm not much of a people person. I am working on that. And through him, my husband said some really great things about him. And as I've been following him, I have recognized and I see all the hard work that he's putting in the community. And sometimes in this community, we get a lot of ridicule and just some really terrible and cruel remarks. I think he's mostly been very welcome because he's a great guy. But I, for one, appreciate what he's doing. He's bringing a face to the people in the Bigfoot community, and he puts a serious note on it, but he also shows the human side of things. And I really want to take a moment and I really wanted to recognize Jason, and I really wanted to put his work out there because this is a gentleman that in our community, he's recognizing everyone else and their hard work. And although he has won some awards and been recognized, I want to put it out there and I want to recognize him because I think he is just incredible. And Jason isn't from British Columbia. He's always traveling down anywhere and everywhere to get a good story. He's a lover of animal. He's an author. He's an animal photojournalist, and he is a director of very many films. And his work has not gone unnoticed. He has had 24 awards, and that's just the surface of it. And Jason, welcome to the show, and I will let you take it from there.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me here. What would you like to know?
Well, let's go into your background. Then I want to go into. I really want to know what got you to this point, where your passion come from, because it is a passion. And then I really want to go into all of your work, where they can find your work, everything you've put out, the awards you've got, and let's just take it from there.
So I started like over 20 years ago as an event photographer and wedding photographer. And out here in Vancouver, I was doing quite a few events, which I love doing the events because I get to meet the people, and I would try and get people to, smile. And there were people that don't like their picture being taken, and I would, you know, coach them and get them to, there's times with the families I got good luck trying to get mom to smile. And then 5 minutes later, I get her to smile and everyone's kind of blown away. So I really love doing events and I really like doing weddings. And then one day, a guy approached me at an event and he said, I have a little dog. Would you take a picture of my little dog? And I'm like, okay. So you want to be in the shot? He's like, no, just my dog. I said, oh, I took a step back because I was like, I didn't know that people had professional photos done of their dogs. So I met him and I did the photo shoot. He has a small little dog, a little mixed dog. And he told me an amazing couple stories about his his dog, and it really touched me, and it got me thinking that maybe other people had some amazing stories from their dog, having their dog. So after he got the photos, he started telling people about what I was doing and showed the photo. And then I started getting phone calls from people who had dogs, cats, small snakes, and birds, like parrots. And then after doing that for a year, I got a phone call from someone that had a pet caiman, which is like a crocodile that they had downstairs in their basement in an aquarium that they built, like a giant, tub. And he asked me if I would come and take photos of his caiman. It was about 3.5 feet tall, long, tall. This thing
Wow.
had hit the, and then I told my friends, hey, this guy has a caiman. And my friends didn't believe me. He said, well, why would someone have a crocodile in their tub? So I went and purchased a camera, a video camera. my first time, taking a video camera, and I went and I filmed it, and it was amazing. I was like this close to the caiman as it was coming up to feed, and I loved the adrenaline. So he loved the photo so much that he told his other friends that had exotic animals. Before you know it, I had people contacting me who had tigers and bears and wolves and kangaroos, monkeys, everything, and everything in between. And they'd fly me in, or they'd have me drive up, and I would take photos, and I would take my video camera, and I would start interviewing them on the love that they had for their pets. And I loved it. I thought it was great. I'm a big animal lover. I love dogs. I can't go for a walk without petting a dog, like 20 of them. Annoys my friends. Where's Jason? God, there's a Chihuahua over there. He's petting it. And so there was the lady that had 5 wolves as pets. She had I think it was like 4 or 5 acres of land that was fenced in that he would let the wolves run around. And so my motto is, if I'm going to take photos of your animal, there can't be any cages. I have to be able to hug the animal, so to speak. So can you imagine after the photo shoot with the 3.5 or 400-pound tiger, we're sitting there watching TV, and my feet are literally on the back of the tiger that's in the middle of the room, just lying there like a house cat. And my feet is on the back of it. Or the guy with the 900-pound grizzly bear would be in his front room, just sitting there while we're just talking. And they built a giant doggy door that the animals would come in and out of.
That would be a regular sized door, wouldn't it?
Huge. Yeah, huge. But this is the thing. I don't want cages. I don't want to. I mean, if I was to just do my photo shoots with cages, I might as well just go to the zoo and just shoot through the bars. Right?
I agree.
I once did a photo shoot with a lady that had 400 cats in her house. And as I pulled up, I got out of the car and I could smell the house from 50 feet away.
Wow.
And as I'm walking up to the door, I could hear cats scratching. So I went to knock at the door, and the door opened, and she just grabbed me, coming in, pulled me in, and closed the door so none of the cats would escape. And I remember standing there, and I look up, and I'm right in the face, right away, instantly. As I walk in, a cat swipes me. And then all the cats were running around our house. You go upstairs, and the living room has one couch that's ripped apart. There's no carpet. The carpet is all ripped. It really smelled bad. And then I go into the back room, and she has a bunch of cages where she's bred a bunch of new breeds of cats. And we're selling them for $30,000 each, like the kittens. They were golden, and they looked like a mix between a leopard and a tiger with the stripes. So it had stripes and it had spots. And she was selling them. I mean, this is 6-7 years ago. So I imagine there's probably people out there that has, cats from those kittens. But yeah, and then so when COVID hit, everything got shut down. So I did a web series called Jason Kenzie's Animal Adventures, and I did 400 videos, and they're all behind the scenes of my animal photo shoots. And just like my Sasquatch documentaries, I try and film it in a way where I want you to feel as if you're with me on the journey, because that's why I break the fourth wall and talk into the camera. I'll just start and turn and talk to you as the person, because I want you to feel like you're with me. So if you Google my name, Jason Kenzie, animal adventures or animals, you'll find all my animal adventures. And people who are animal lovers might get a kick about all the fun that I have, and you get to hear some interesting stories about the owners. So when COVID hit, everything got shut down, and I was pacing around. What am I going to do? I can't do my animal adventures. I can't do my photo shoots anymore because I can't fly out. So then I was with a buddy of mine. We went hiking, and I was venting to him about it. And we're in the midst of COVID. And he kind of joked with me and said, well, I mean, why didn't you do Sasquatch? I mean, maybe he's an animal. And I was like, we all laughed. Like I laughed and thought it was hilarious. And then I took a step back and thought, actually, you might have a good point. Maybe if Sasquatch is real, maybe there's some kind of an animal. And because I'm an animal expert, that I've been around so many different animals, I know the body language of a lot of wild animals. And I decided to jump right in. And I got pointed to some eyewitnesses who allegedly saw these Bigfoot creatures. And I interviewed them. And in turn, they sent me to some First Nations people who told me their stories about what these Sasquatch people is what they call them, the forest giants. And they pointed me into an area way up into the mountains where they believe the Sasquatch people live. So I went off-roading way up into the mountains. I took a helicopter, got dropped in, and I did whatever it took to get into the mountains. And while I was there, I found trees that were ripped out of the ground, turned upside down, jammed back into the ground. I found some tracks. I found a lake in the middle of the wilderness that had these giant footprints that went right through this lake. And the lake wasn't that big. It was maybe 2,000 feet across by 3,000 feet across. Like it wasn't that massive of a lake. I had a drone, so I droned the top of the lake, and you could see all the footprints. And on land, when I'm standing there, you could see the toes that were in this lake. So it blew my mind. So I took the footage to the First Nations people and asked them to look at this and what they thought about it. And they said that I found the migration path of the Sasquatch people from Alaska all the way to California. So when I launched my first documentary, Searching for Sasquatch, it just kind of blew up, and I had so many people watching it, and researchers from all over North America started contacting me and wanting me to come out to where they live, and they would take me out into the neck of the woods to where they believe these Sasquatch people are. And it was been amazing. I mean, the stuff that I've seen in the forest has been crazy. When I first started researching Bigfoot, I was a 20% believer. But some of the stuff that I've seen over the last 6 years of research, and like 30 different expeditions and like 20 different areas, like states, I'm up to 50% believer.
Wow.
And the reason why it's 50% and not 100% is because I haven't had a daytime sighting, but the crazy stuff that I've seen, at nighttime, it's just been nuts. Like, just would blow you away. And I've been privileged enough to, I was lucky enough that I had other people with me that would see what I would see.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't just be me. If someone was calling me a liar or hoaxing, that means I would be calling everyone else that's with me a hoaxer too,
Yeah.
or lying, because they could back up the stories. Not all of them, but most of them.
Yeah. So let's just step back for a moment, because I think that's incredible. You really wanted to get there. You really wanted to go out where the First Nations people told you to go, to the point where you took a helicopter out. So you
Yeah,
started seeing these things like the root of the tree is up and the tree's in the
yeah.
ground. Then you find the tracks, then you take your drone up. When your feet hit the ground and you were by yourself, correct? Take me through that feeling when you're because you step on the ground and not really sure I believe this, but I'm gonna go, and then you start seeing these things.
Yeah.
You take me through that feeling, that emotion, or what's going through your mind.
Well, for first off, usually the helicopters don't land. They hover about 3 feet off the ground, and you have to jump. It's completely terrifying if you've never done it, but very exciting. Yeah, it was. So it was very confusing to me because remember I was 20% believer. I was open
Mhm.
minded, but
Yeah.
not really thinking that these creatures. I went out there to try and debunk it. When I found the trees upside down and there's no grab marks, because I've talked to loggers who have said that they've done it. They've ripped trees out of the ground and turned them upside down for the eagles to roost.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
So when they go into a logging area and they rip out down all the trees, there is there's no trees for the eagle
Habitat.
to roost in. So sometimes loggers will actually take a tree and they'll ram it upside down so the roots kind of act like a nest, right? Not all the time, because where I found these trees, it was old growth trees all around. Like there wasn't any place for a machine to get into,
Wow.
right? Because the trees are so big that yeah, there's no way. Like some of these trees that like I live in the Pacific, you know, in the Pacific Northwest, where I live. If I drive like not even an hour away from where I live, uh, like 35 minutes, I can be walking among trees that are 10 feet in diameter and over 200 feet tall. So, the area that I was in, the trees weren't that big. Like the
Mhm.
trees were probably about maybe 4 feet in diameter.
It's
So,
still,
and 200 feet tall. So, and besides that, the trees I were looking at didn't have any marks
yeah.
of being, because it's not an easy feat to rip a tree out of the ground. Like you're tugging, you strip half the bark off the tree before you even, you know, get it out of the ground. You're wrenching on it, right? So there's no way you could just pull a tree out of the ground without damaging the tree like a lot. Like you're digging into the tree. There's no. You can put a couple pillows around the tree and try and grab hold. There's
Mm-mm.
no way around it. You'd shred it. So yeah, but yeah. So when I found the footprints, that blew my mind. I was like, wow, and the old man that sent me up there in that area blew my mind. Like when I first saw the footprints, I'm like, some people, I'm thinking, I know there's moose, but I don't
Mhm.
know if anyone's ever seen moose walk through water. They're not, they're not going like this. They're mowing. They're ripping up the mud, and these were clearly
Up to-
footprints, like clearly, you know, and submerged in water too. So that means the water would have at least been right down and then filled back up for that to happen, right? At least that's my theory, that it was just very wet mud when it was made, and then it filled back up.
So the Bigfoot bug bit you then, didn't it? The desire.
Well, I love a good mystery. That's the thing. I mean, I love a good mystery and I love a good adventure. And I like meeting people. And I was, kind of bitten by a lot of ticks. That's for sure. Wow. Like I'm like, it's not the Bigfoot that you have to worry about biting you. It's fucking ticks. I don't know how much Lyme disease I've got in my system.
Oh,
There's a
goodness.
lot. Like I'm like, lucky for me, I took the medicine every time. But like there was one time in I think it was I think it was Indiana. Either it was Kentucky or Indiana. Man, I got home and when I took my shirt off, I I looked like I was attacked by an octopus. There were so many rings all over my back
Goodness.
and everything. It took 3 doctors. I went through 3 doctors here before one of them actually turned out to have a like a family member that had got Lyme disease long time ago and didn't get treatment. It was now really messed up. And so this doctor became an expert on Lyme disease. So when he, first thing, when I lifted up my shirt, the, like it's not a good sign when the doctor's like, "Oh wow."
Oh no, it's not, Jason.
No,
It's
he's
not.
like, "Man, I've dealt with Lyme disease like for years. I've seen it all, but I've never seen so many rings." Yeah,
So
yeah,
you
it
paid
was.
the price for your mystery.
Well, no, he gave me he gave me the medicine. He gave me the good stuff. Like he went into the back and got the stuff that they give to the professionals. Like there's medicine that we get, like we get like,
Mhm.
and then there's medicine that doctors and lawyers and people that
Would
are pretty elite that get this medicine, and I got the good stuff. And
wow.
he doubled it, I think, or he gave me enough to at least neutralize it. But it's a price you have to pay, right? For sure. You know.
So you're down there, you're seeing, and really, that's I never knew loggers did that for the eagles. That's
Yeah.
giving them back a little bit of the habitat that they're destroying. So you're out there, you're by yourself. How long did you stay out there?
So I've been out there a couple times, about 5 days each time, roughly,
Does
and
that
five
environment
times and then 3 times.
does the environment change when the sun goes down?
Yes. Like there's things that walk up to you. They I've seen the eye peeking. I've seen them peeking behind trees. When I was in when I was in the Colorado Rockies, and when I say we, the Bigfoot group that I was with, we witnessed them stalking us. Like we caught it on film.
Wow.
Like 1 minute, like one of the researchers is filming down the way, waiting for us to walk up. We're like maybe 1,000 feet down the mountain, like down the trail, and he's yelling at us while he's filming. It's nighttime. He, unbeknownst to him, like what he didn't see, was one literally stuck its head out and looked at him, but he wasn't looking through his camera lens. Like looking, he was looking. He just had the camera pointed, and then so then about I would say 300 feet up the trail, we caught up to him, and there it is again, two of them from behind bushes watching us. And here we are sitting there, we're standing there watching. There's about 4 or 5 of us, and we're watching these looking at us. Obviously, I wanted to run up
No.
and just make sure it wasn't like a hiker or a hunter or someone out there. But they told me not to, and I just kind of had to respect it. But um, the one that peeked out from behind the tree, like a few yards behind us, like the first time, I about 2 months later, while I'm editing, and the lights are off. I usually have the lights off when I'm editing. I'm like going through the footage, and suddenly I see it peek its head out. Oh my gosh! I was like, oh my gosh! I'm looking at this because I know it was none of us, because there was a big log right next to him. There was a log that was shaped as an X that was lying there on like it wasn't standing up. It was actually on the ground, and it was two semi big pieces of tree. They looked like they had fallen down, And then I think, something had moved it into an X. I mean, that's only my theory, but when you look at it, like I look at it, and then it was right next to him because he's looking at it. That's what was happening. He stopped and he's filming it. And he's like, wow, this is really neat looking. Like it just looks like it was placed. And he turned the camera to look down. Hey, are you guys coming? Come on. And that's when it put its head out.
Wow. Wow. So, was there any time, both in when you went to the area where the First Nations people sent you in this area in Colorado, really any time? Because there's a one side of Bigfoot that's good, and there's a very dark side to it. Was there any time that you felt threatened,
Well,
or you just
every time they roar at you, anytime they throw stuff at you, the Texas screams, Searching for Sasquatch 5, that was, they're all around us screaming and howling and roaring and all around us. And it went on for like an hour. It wasn't like 1 minute, 2 minute. It wasn't like one howl, one scream. It was all over. It was like all over around us.
the first?
Where I live, there's an area, Harrison Hot Springs, but everyone goes to the tourist side. I had some First Nations people point me in the direction of, I call it the dark side of Harrison Hot Springs, the area where the First Nation people that I went to talk to. And when I told them I'm going to be spending a night in this area way up on the mountain, they literally looked at me in the face and said, are you crazy? You're crazy.
Yes.
Don't. Because we tell our people that not to go out there at night because these Sasquatch people will take you. And I even interviewed a lady that lived in this area like 50, 60 years ago, maybe 70 years ago, when there wasn't any houses out there. She lived in a little, like a shack, like a little tiny cabin with her 3 children. She would hear the crying baby out there every night almost. And then one day she was driving back. I know where she was coming back. But the road was gravel. Now it's paved. But when she was living there, it was gravel. And she was just coming down the gravel. And one came walking out of the forest, stopped and looked at her right in the middle of the road. She had to put the brakes on. And then it just turned, looked at her, and then just turned and went right across. And then she pulled up, she rolled down the window, she could hear it crashing through the forest, but terrified her. So when I heard that, I said, okay, well, I'm going to go in that area. She showed me where the area is, where the First Nation people told her that this is where the Sasquatch give birth out in this area. And so I went out there with a friend, and I had a loudspeaker, like a Bluetooth speaker, massive. It's like, man, we had to carry it through the forest. And I wanted to go in an area where there wasn't people around. I just want to make sure that if anything happens, I can rule out a human.
People, yeah.
It's 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. So I put the speaker down and I downloaded a crying baby sound. And sure enough, I was sitting there and I blasted off into the darkness. And, I'm like, I wasn't going to hold my breath. And after about 20 seconds or 30 seconds, I stopped it. And as I'm sitting here right now talking to you, within 10 seconds after I turned it off, there was a blood-curdling scream that came out from the forest. And it sounded like it was trying to mimic the baby cry.
Wow.
And I caught it on camera. And it took us, I was upset because I wasn't prepared. The camera was rolling, but I was standing up and I didn't realize the camera, my head was out of frame, but my buddy was sitting there and we had it on night vision. And I wish I could have caught my face going, what the,
Yeah.
And then I kind of walked really fast into the direction because it was close. And whatever it was, I could hear it crashing through the forest as it ran away from me. and I walked really fast down the trail because like I said, I just want to make sure it wasn't a human,
Yeah.
right, or someone kind of trying to hoax.
But
Yeah,
but when you hear that kind of like that's kind of mimicking a baby sound, you still know it has big lungs when you hear it.
yeah,
I've
yeah,
heard that. Yeah, I've heard that. It's almost like um well, it's almost like a 500-600 pound person trying to mimic a baby in the woods.
exactly, right.
So what you went to it and not away from it. So do you have a? I know you have a respect of it, but at any time do you have a fear of it and you just move forward anyway?
Well, there's so in Michigan when I was in the hammock, and that whatever it is walked up on me in the middle of the night. I walked up and it stopped like I want to say it stopped 5 feet from me and grunted in my ear. It was like, and I was like, oh, what the fuck? And I just felt it as it hit me,
Yep.
and I started uncontrollably shaking. I couldn't, and I was trying to stay really still, you know, like as if it, whatever it is, it doesn't know I'm there. Yet, if it's a Bigfoot, I'm already dressed up as a burrito. You know, I might as well just be in the hammock, dousing myself with ketchup and hot sauce just to get ready for when it,
Bigfoot burritos, sir.
grabs me and throws me over the. But as it walked away, even as it walked towards me, I could feel the vibration of it every time it took a step off the string, the rope that was holding it. So I was like, I kept thinking, is it a bear, a wild pig? Like I was like, so that was terrifying. And I have to say that out of all the places I've gone to, the one thing I do realize is I find very similar things, evidence in all these different places, like the tree X's. I love finding the big, tall, the massive tree X's, the ones that are so big that not even humans, not even 5 humans, could put them up without having a pulley system. I like finding those, especially if I'm in the middle of nowhere. I mean, I've found so many smaller ones.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously, 1, 2, or 3 people could easily put them together. I mean, why would they? In this day and age, there's a lot of hoaxers out there that just they get drunk or whatever. Oh, let's do a fake tree structure, right? But usually they don't veer off the trail no more than
Mm-hmm.
200 feet. If they're going to do something like that.
Are
Uh,
there Are there areas that you've been into that you feel like they're more aggressive? I'm big on behavior. I
yeah,
love to hear their behavior. And I know before we started our chat, we were talking about, the positive sides of people bring their dogs with them and the really dark sides of what happens to them.
yeah.
But with all the areas that you go to, have you really seen a behavioral difference by region? Like these tend to be more aggressive and more confrontational, or these seem to be just curious?
So what I've seen or heard or whatever I've experienced, well, I'm still alive and I'm still here.
Yes.
So if these are Sasquatches that are coming around, uh, they haven't killed me yet, or they haven't done me any harm yet, because I've interviewed quite a few people that I've heard. Yeah, I've heard, talked to eyewitnesses who were out there with their dog, and a Bigfoot had walked up, grabbed the dog, broke its neck, and just turned and walked back into the forest.
Yeah.
I've heard that story about 4 times, and one time the Bigfoot ripped the dog in half,
Yeah.
and then
Um,
you know threw the dog at them, missing them, but each one the head and the one went that side, the other side went that side. Um, there was an eyewitness that I did interview once where it played with the dog. Like it actually played with the dog. Meanwhile, she's standing there basically crapping herself, which is understandable. And meanwhile, her dog, she's trying to call her dog, and this Sasquatch is playing with the dog, like
Wow.
running around with the dog. The dog is jumping, and the dog goes down and tail's
Good
wagging.
tell, I go.
The Bigfoot is like, playing with it, and the dog would run
Mhm.
back. I mean,
Well,
the dog, it didn't touch the dog. It couldn't catch the dog. So who knows? Maybe it was, you know, trying to catch the dog. And she said it just looked like it was just like they were playing, you know.
well, I'll say this kind of toward you and your adventures and going out there, moving forward to it, where most of us would probably stay stationary. They either respect your courage or they respect your crazy, or both.
It probably both for sure. I mean, maybe the biggest reason why I'm still I haven't had any of them harm me is maybe because I'm holding a camera. I'm holding a video camera because the running joke is, how do you keep a Bigfoot out of your
Yes,
camp? You
yes.
put up a tree cam,
Yeah,
right?
you might be living proof of that.
Put up a tree cam facing your camp, and then don't have to worry about Bigfoot coming around, because for some reason they seem to avoid the cameras, right? So if anybody out there is afraid of, walking into a Bigfoot, just strap a GoPro to the front of your just on, on your hat, and just go to town. Uh, they won't bother you, right? So
Yeah. So you're getting more into the Bigfoot community, and with each, time you're meeting people, you're gathering, you're literally telling someone's story, positive or indifference or aggressive. You're giving someone an outlet, so they must trust you, and you've built that trust in the community, and you've earned that respect for people that allow you. That's a big responsibility. Has there
yeah.
come a time where did you wanted to tell a story, and the story that someone is telling you is so traumatic that you were just afraid you didn't capture it right, or you didn't?
Well, when you watch my documentaries,
Mhm,
I let them tell their story, how it is. I let them just, I don't try and coach them into what to say. The
yeah,
only time I coach them to saying something, it's gonna be, please state your name
yeah,
and where you're from and what you do for a living, and then go into your Bigfoot encounter. That's pretty much all I say to them, and then I'll ask them questions. And I don't have. I have two things that's very important. If I go out with researchers or go out with people into the forest, hiking, and like when I'm filming my documentaries. Number one, which is very important, and sometimes people get insulted but no hoaxing. It's very important. No throwing a stick into the forest and saying, "Oh, do you hear that? It's a Bigfoot." No sneaking off and, you know, pretending to howl, or pretending that you're stomping around. And that's a no-no. Because I love a good mystery and I love a good adventure. And the big reason why I'm doing this uh, is because I want Bigfoot to be real, 100%. I really want them to be real. And if I was to hoax it, or if I was just if I was just to fake it, then in my head I would know this,
you
and then I wouldn't have as much. Uh,
self-respect.
yeah, no, well, yeah, but I wouldn't also have this excitement because I would already know it's fake. It's like wrestling. I was the biggest wrestling fan on the planet. Literally, as soon as I found out they were fake a week ago, I totally never watched. No, okay,
That was heartbreaking when I was a kid.
when I was 17 and I found out that wrestling was fake, that was it. I never watched it again because I just couldn't get over the fact. I mean, they already know who's going to win, so there's no challenge. So with Sasquatch, if I was faking it, then it wouldn't be as fun because I know it's not real. I don't have to make any effort. Um, so, and usually, of course, when I do my filming, there is certain stuff that's scripted, like walking through a door. I need that shot. I need to
Setting
set
up
the
a
shot
shot.
up, walk to the door so I get that nice shot. The hand opening the doorknob, I need that shot. Walking up to the eyewitness, I need that shot. I need that. But I call it the gong, the what I call it the gonzo filming, or the when when they go into the forest, whatever happens happens,
That's
right? So
awesome.
there's scripted going, walking into the forest,
Setting
but
up the
once we
scene.
get in there,
Mhm.
whatever happens happens. There's no, if we get screamed at or yelled at or something comes out, we have no control. If I walk into a spider web, I run around screaming like a little
Yeah,
child. Just,
I get it. I totally get that part.
you know the worst of it is walking into a spider web. I mean, I
You
that's because
get
I
it.
always
You
let
still
someone go
feel
first,
it.
right? But don't tell them I said that, okay?
I want.
Yeah.
So, start of your journey to where you're at now. What has been the most unusual or least talked about characteristic that you feel like you can contribute to a Sasquatch or a Bigfoot?
You mean like the strangest thing that's happened to me, kind of
Yeah,
thing?
that's
So, every time, okay, so I was given a um, a tree cam. I was given a tree cam as a gift. I was so excited. It was pretty much brand new. I said, I'm going to test this. So I went over and I put it on a tree facing where the vehicles were. I didn't want to face it where we're by the fire because I didn't want it going off all the time.
mhm.
But I knew every once in a while someone would walk over and to the truck and it would go off. And then for like 24 hours, I had it running. And one of the elders, First Nations people, came over and said, "Hey, we walked down this trail." It was in Minnesota, the Minnesota Roars. I went over to. She said, "Hey, if we go down that trail, there is a gifting stump, so you can go and you can give a gift." So I was given earlier in the day. I was given the biggest sucker, this round sucker. It was like huge, like this, and it was still wrapped up. And so I took the tree cam off where it was, and I walked down the trail. And I was filming all this, and there was a knot, like a hole in the tree.
Uh-huh.
So I jammed it into the tree. First, I went, "Okay, Mr. Sasquatch, this is for you. This is a gift for you. It's brand new, still wrapped, and I'm going to put it in this tree. If you don't like it, just don't worry about it. I will eat it." Okay? And so for 24 hours, I came back and I went and it was gone. I came walking up, it was gone out of the tree. And I'm like, "Oh, it's gone. Oh my gosh, it's gone." I had someone filming. We were filming the whole thing. And then the camera person's like, "Hey, it's on the ground by your feet." I look over behind me. There it is. So it's behind me. There was a little tiny, like rip in like a little gnaw part, like a mouse or a squirrel or something that
Uh-huh.
gnawed through it. I was like, "Wow, that's cool." So I put it away and took down the tree cam and went along the way. And I put it away and didn't, I just put it away in my bag. I didn't look at it for the next like 4 days. And I went home, back home into Canada, and I started editing. And I pulled it out of my bag and I put the thing in. And I was excited. I'm like, okay, there's like 45 files, and I'm going through each one, knowing that I'm going to get to that one clip. I'm interested to see the squirrel or the whatever it gnawed on it, and I'm looking at all the files, and I come to the file that I'm excited. I could see where I'm setting it up. Corrupted.
Wow.
It was completely corrupted. But here's the thing: all the files after it worked, except for the one file. I am not kidding.
You
This blows my mind. The one file that I was so excited to see what
wow.
what ate it was corrupted. I have like three different powerful editing programs, and one of them, Sony, actually it was anyway, this one program that was all the elites use it in the
Uh-huh.
film industry. It was like really powerful. They did Star Wars and Lord of the Rings and all this stuff on this one. I opened it up and I tried it on there, which is supposed to open all files, but nothing. It was it was corrupted. Just
Oh
the
my goodness.
file. I could not believe it. It really opened my eyes because when you hear stories about people going, yeah, something came and ate all the food, but I had it on the tree cam, but all the photos or videos were erased. I didn't laugh at it, but I always like, okay, like I didn't think anything of it. I'm thinking, okay, whatever. But when it happens to me, I'm like, wow, this is incredible. Like there's literally, it makes me wonder if these Sasquatch creatures have some kind of like a field around them
The
or
energy.
some way to at least just zap it. I don't know. It really makes me sound, it makes me sound strange even saying that. But I don't know any other way to explain it. I just don't know. Right. But yeah, so that was one strange. I was just in Oregon. I was speaking at Sasquatch Summerfest. Amazing time. If anyone ever is in Oregon next summer, look up Sasquatch Summerfest and come visit. I'll be there again speaking and showing my documentaries. But we got, so I interviewed these guys who were driving along the highway and they saw Bigfoot cross the highway. And there was a bunch of cars that stopped and they stopped and they watched it as it walked into the forest. And it was a busy road. Like it was I mean, it was like, thousands and thousands of acres of pristine wilderness on either side of this area where they saw it. And there was a river that was running down below. And I guess it had been down
Mhm.
drinking or whatever, maybe peeing down by the river. Who knows? And it was walking through and then going up the mountain. And
Right.
and I interviewed them, and they gave some coordinates where to find it. And I got this from another person, and I went there. I went to the spot, and we looked at what we thought were scratch marks, fingerprints that turned out that I believe that they were made by a bear, a black bear,
Yeah.
because there was black bear prints around. Sure enough, down the way, probably about 200 feet,
Mhm.
was a footprint. This huge 21-inch footprint. And it looked like a giant human footprint. And
Wow.
then, and so I was so excited. I could see it. I had the flashlight sideways on it so you could see the outline of it. It was exciting. You could see the toes. Um, and we we rushed away and got some casting material. We came back. Then I found a second one. That was another 40 feet up. And we went and cast it. So we went and we poured it. Then we
Hmm.
went away for 2 hours and waited for it. We went to go up to this area, to these caves. And when we came back 2 hours later, someone had taken the second cast, the second footprint.
Wow.
They had come and they took it from the spot, but they didn't get the 21-inch. They took the 14-inch, but they didn't take the 21-inch.
Wow.
That was strange too. That was like, wow, that was strange too to have that. I'm glad they didn't take the second, the first one.
Hmm.
And yeah, so that was another strange moment for me.
Well, I know the people that speak about mind speak and the energy and stuff, they call that the woo.
Yeah,
But see, that's to me, that's not negative. That's not a negative term. That's just something you put something somewhere until you figure it out. But I've heard they have the effect on the cameras. Orbs are often seen with them. There's an energy there, and it comes with a high
yeah,
strangeness. But even mind speak, if you go on government websites, they believe people used to communicate mind speak, and it was actually something the government used along with remote viewing. So
yeah.
it's not that far fetched.
Yeah, exactly. Um, Also with infrasound,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, allegedly these Sasquatch creatures has the infrasound, right? Where you can't hear it, but you can feel it. And I've experienced it like a few times. Um, I know that. So I usually, when I compare stuff with Sasquatch,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of compare it with known animals and what they can do, right? So tigers and lions, they have an ability to actually be able to shoot out the infrasound on purpose. So a lot of times they'll sit there, and when you hear, and even house cats can do it too, where they purr, or they'll do a
Yeah.
what's happening is they're also shooting out this infrasound, which is meant to shock the animal. That's why they roar at the same time as attacking you, because they get you with two bounds of infrasound and the actual sound. So they get you all around. They get you the visual of seeing this giant 300-pound creature flying at you, and they're roaring at you, so they're hitting you with that, and they have the infrasound that will make you throw up, or at least black out for a second, or go deaf. Right. So I I wonder if Sasquatch can also on purpose give out infrasound without making a sound,
Wow.
without them growling, if they can actually do the same thing, where it's almost like you going and being able to like put it out there. That, obviously, because we haven't caught one, or we haven't studied one, we don't know. Everything is theorized. But you hear cases of invisibility or cloaking. So it sounds kind of far fetched, but the thing is, there is a couple animals out there that are a master at camouflage. The octopus, the cuttlefish. They can almost turn invisible.
Yeah.
They can turn. They can almost uh, turn their body into translucent, right? Or they can camouflage. Uh, the the chameleon, same thing, right? The leaf bug, they can almost be
Yeah.
invisible, almost like. But the cuttlefish. So knowing that there are animals out there that can almost be invisible, or they can do um, almost cloaking, then makes you wonder if maybe Sasquatch can. I mean, we already know they have master at camouflage just alone. All they have to, I mean, you hear that like special forces, right? You wonder why they put the black around their eyes and their face, and they just close their eyes. A lot of times they won't even open their eyes sometimes if an enemy's walking by, because your
Movement.
eyes can give you away.
Movement. The movement of it.
And then there's that. Then it comes to my other point. That's very confusing. Is why do they howl? Why do they make a sound?
Vocals was next. Yeah.
Because the thing is, I have been around a campfire or standing in the forest in the dark, and by the campfire, like one time, okay, we were around a campfire, and I stood up. I said, I want to do a howl. And a couple of the researchers were like, rolled their eyes and said, oh, it's kind of stupid. I mean, it's useless. You just look stupid doing it. I'm like, "Oh, okay, well, I understand. Maybe I do sound like an idiot. I mean, I look like an idiot. Anyway, so might as well sound like one too." So I said, look, for just in giggles, I'm just going to do it. We've been here for 2 hours sitting around the fire. Literally nothing's happened. So why not just do it for the heck of it? So I did the howl as I'm sitting in front of you talking to you. No lie. Within 15, 20 seconds after doing that howl, we got a howl right behind us, and then
Wow.
another howl in front of us. And then the coyote started. It blew. You should have seen the look in their eyes. The one that rolled their eyes and said, "This is stupid. Why are you doing it?" But then it makes you wonder, if he didn't howl behind us, We would never have known they were there.
They're there.
And so it just baffles me. It also makes me wonder if they must want us to know they're there. That's the only common sense, right? Because I go back to what I know about animals, insects, especially frogs.
Mhm.
If a predator comes close, all the insects, the frogs, they shut up just like that. Do you know why? Because they don't want to be seen. They don't want to be found out, right? So, obviously, if a predator is next to you, you're not going to be like, "Hey, how you doing? Come eat me. I got some hot sauce on me." No, you're going to be shutting up. You're going to be sitting there. You're going to be like holding your breath. So it makes me wonder. And the only way my
Mhm.
conclusion is he wanted, he's sitting in the dark watching us, thinking, that blonde guy looks tasty. I'm just going to scare him, right? Like, who knows?
Silence. I've been out with my husband and we've had hours of silence, but we've walked 100 yards or whatever up the trail and the whole mountain's alive. What's
With
your take?
howls, right? With howls and stuff. Is that what you're
No,
talking about? Oh, just with
just
yeah,
well with the crickets and the frogs. But when we go
yeah,
back to where our camp is,
yeah,
silence. Had hours of it.
yeah, yeah.
What is your take on that and your experience with that? I know you just hit on it
Well,
some. Then I kind of want to go into vocals.
how close were you to water in your
We
camp?
were within, I would say, 40 yards of water.
I mean, the only thing I can think of is you were so close to them, and that's why they shut up. But once you moved away, right, then they start singing again.
Well, it remained silence at the camp when we walked up the trails because we had recorders out. I'm like literally nothing. But I mean, those are things where you kind of scratch your head and you're like, you know, but let's go into vocals. I know you can. I know they mimic animals. I know they mimic the babies crying. Owls are a big thing you hear about. What is your take on vocals and your experiences that you've had so far?
Yeah, it's a hard one. Okay, so I do well. What I've heard in real time
Mhm.
is you can always tell the coyotes. I
Yeah.
love it when coyotes are howling at the same time, or like one after another, like
Mhm.
after, because they do sound different, right?
Yeah.
Coyotes do a bit of it, of a yip yip, right before they howl. Also, when a Bigfoot howls, they go right into it, like boom, and it's very hard for a human to go right into it. We always gradually howl. We're like, woo, woo. We always go from low and then go in.
You
Bigfoots
totally woke my cat
go
up.
right into it, and you can almost feel the howls. They have a bit of a hollow,
Agree.
like a powerful sound to it when they howl,
Vibration.
especially when you're really close to them, right? But yeah, I really love it when coyotes howl next to one of these unidentified howls, because yeah, it weans it out. If I didn't get any coyote howls next to the Bigfoots, I probably would have just been saying it was coyotes,
Well, that's
right?
a good reference.
Yeah, it's a
Now,
good reference, I think, for me.
when you made that howling sound, you woke up Swamp Kitty. She
Okay.
kind of looked around the computer. So, how about nesting sites? That's another thing that fascinates me. Have you come across
No,
things that you
I
believe?
have I have not come across like a nesting area that so far. Like I haven't. I mean, I actually have come across. So a lot of the tree structures that I find
Mhm.
are so, they're not woven to the point where it would keep out rain or
Mhm.
wind or anything. It's like four sticks or four trees, like, so it
Like a
really baffles
blind.
me. Yeah, like, so I did come across a blind with the she squatchers one
Mhm.
time, and it was very interesting because it looked, everything was all weaved up, like perfect for them, and it was literally next to a trail, like a running trail. where people would
Wow.
ride their bikes, right? And at first looks, it just looked like what caught us was there was a big tree in the middle, another one that leaned up on it, but it was like you could just see the outline. When you walked in there, you could see that it was all weaved, and then it
Yeah.
looked like something could sit there and just watch people walk by.
I'll tell you another good place where when you're looking for it, the kudzu vine in the south.
Yeah,
They travel. It's like little trails. But speaking of she squash, let's give those ladies some credit. You just actually won a award and were recognized for a documentary you did with them. Would you like to go into that?
yeah. So I did a documentary called the She Watchers documentary, and it's basically a bit about their life and how they got into doing their research. They all did paranormal investigations before they jumped into Bigfoot.
Mhm.
So that was interesting. Yeah, you just really get to see these women, not just as researchers, but as
Mhm.
just people,
Yeah.
as you know. And so I really wanted to capture that. I really wanted to show people. I wanted people to just fall in love with them as them as don't look at them as just Bigfoot researchers.
Mhm.
Don't look at them as people and how much fun they are, and their
Mhm.
sense of humor, and
Very lighthearted, always
yeah,
smiling.
they have issues like we all do, and I just wanted to show people how much fun that they can be around, and it was very important for me. And actually, it's the third international film award that I've won, because I did two other documentaries with the She Squatchers in them, and they got some international film awards, at least two different ones. Uh, I I've I have about 24 um, international film awards uh, across all 14 of my Bigfoot and paranormal documentaries, and there's actually two more that I haven't released yet, like two more awards
Wow.
for best documentary uh, that I just received 2 days ago that I haven't made public yet. So I'm very excited about that. I never thought that I'd be winning awards for my documentaries. I know that my documentaries aren't perfect. They're not perfectly filmed. They're not perfect. Uh, there are, mistakes in filming and stuff, but I really wanted, I film them like that because, like I said earlier, I think I want you to feel as if you're with me. I didn't want you to feel as if it was um, so like perfect. I didn't want it to be so dry. I wanted to be. I just really wanted it to, feel like you're with me, and
Well,
all the mistakes. And I'm not out there trying to, make my uh, film like my documentaries for actual filmmakers in Hollywood, because they would just look at my films and go, "Yeah, this is crap."
sometimes perfection is in the imperfections. But I want to say this to you: you are a part of the work you put out, and it's a lot to do with you, your personality, just the person you are that gives people that comfort to let you see that side of them. So the work's great, but the person behind the lens, the man
Thank
behind
you.
the lens, that is to me is as important as what you capture. Because if people aren't comfortable with you, if they don't pick up the good things about you, the warmth of you, the genuine,
Yeah,
you know, that you could film all day long, you're not going to get the energy of it. You're, and so I think you as a person has a lot to do with that, and that's just my humble opinion.
yeah. I try. I try and do my. One of the best things that's come out of my documentaries and filming and my travels and my adventures is literally the new friendships that I've made along the way.
The
The ones
friends.
that I will probably keep forever. With the She Squatchers, with
Mhm.
Chad Datema and Dave Dominique and Todd Parsons, and and Josh Parsons and all these researchers. You know, these new friendships that I've met along the way, people that I really care about, and I really love hanging out with them. And there's more to come. I'm meeting new people all the time. I mean, of course, not everyone can like my documentaries, and I'm not. And I've learned, and believe it or not, my haters are my best fans out there. Right?
I must have I feel like I have a ton of fans then. But I have a lot of people turned off because of the name of my Bigfoot show, the Not So Perfect Bigfoot Show. And that's okay because I don't fall into clicks, and I'd rather have 4 quarters than 100 pennies any day. But it's because we're not perfect. It's because
Yeah.
you're going to, none of us are perfect. I don't consider anyone an expert. The closest person I've come to an expert has been Will Jevons. The man has a lot of, he just has a lot of knowledge. He's been doing it over 50 years. Great guy. But none of us are perfect. And I think I know for me, I just want the rawness of the moment.
Yeah.
And just
Yeah.
there's more sincerity in the rawness of a person than something that's kind of rehearsed and kind of applauded. So I applaud you for that. And I think you do a great job. So let's go to the dark side for a minute. Has there ever been someone and you don't have to answer if you don't, because I mean, I'm a blunt person. Has there ever been someone you have been hyped up to get introduced to or make a connection with, and you just didn't feel right about putting the story out?
Well, there is a few. Well, there's a few um, Bigfoot investigators that I've met who really I looked up to these people, and when I finally met them, I come to realize that they don't actually go out into the field.
Yeah.
Like once the cameras stop rolling, or once they, yeah, they just don't really research at all.
Yeah.
They
More
don't go out
academic.
into the forest. They have another job, and they, and I was very disappointed. I was like, wow. And I'm thinking, okay, I was excited to meet them, and
Yeah.
it just kind of went sideways fast. And yes, I'm definitely not going to name names.
I understand that. So Hoaxton and AI. So what do you think? I know Hoaxton hurts the community, but how do you think artificial intelligence and these new videos you can
Oh yeah,
make
it's going to ruin it
someone's
for sure.
voice?
It's going to
Yeah.
ruin it for sure. Oh yeah, like the way AI is growing. I mean, you could sit there all day long and make yourself believe that there aren't going to be people out there that's going to create, uh, a video of Bigfoot, you know, crossing. I mean, AI is not quite there yet,
It's getting there.
but you have to understand the word I just used. Quite there yet. If you looked at AI 2 years ago, or even a
Hmm.
year ago, it was complete crap, especially video. All of a sudden, AI is really advanced that
Hmm.
fast. So I don't know about you, but I don't know any other technology out there that's advanced that fast, right? It's as if it's being built by an AI, right?
It
So
is.
you wait, you give 3 years from now, there will be, of course, there's going to be people who's going to be able to you know, be able to type something in, and they'll have a real looking, all they have to do is go, okay, make it a little bit blurry, right?
Yeah. That's that's pretty sad. So when you look, I want to get in your paranormal, if you don't mind touching on that. But one last question: when you look back on the community, a lot of people in the outside world, and I say outside of the Bigfoot community, they look at us as a bunch of freaks, as a bunch of rednecks with nothing else to do, which most of us do, run around in the woods with, a cigarette hanging from our lips or whatever. I don't know. But
That was all of me. Oh my god. Like, you know me.
What do you think if you could tell people that have an opinion of the face of Bigfoot? What can you tell them that now you're a part of that community about the people of Bigfoot that you've met?
About the people of Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Um, you mean like what should I say to them?
Well, when there's a stereotype of us. So if you meet someone that has the stereotype, that's a non-believer that thinks we're just all stupid
Or
rednecks.
complete nut jobs? Yeah,
Yeah, what would you say to them now about the people of the community
yeah.
if you were speaking to one?
I would look at them straight in the eye and say, "Hey, listen, you're right. We are all nut jobs. I'm the most biggest nut job of them all." Well,
Got
you
you,
have to
buddy.
you have to look at it this way. You have to be kind of nuts to go into the dark forest after looking for a creature that is, almost 2 times the size of a grizzly bear with intelligence. Like if it wanted to kill you, just walk up and twist your head off. Like
Yeah,
think about it. Who who goes into the dark forest looking for a grizzly bear or looking
crazy
for a
people.
tiger? Yeah, crazy people, like literally. But no, even crazy people don't usually go into the forest looking for a bear or looking for a tiger
We're a
or
special
looking
kind of
for
nuts.
right. So, but here we are looking for these creatures, and these creatures have intelligence. I mean, they have to because they avoid the cameras, right? So, yeah, we're all nut jobs, you know.
That special kind of nuts. I like
Yeah.
that. So I think I'll get that on a t-shirt. Okay, let's sit on your paranormal because you're also an author. We haven't even
So,
hit on that.
so I am actually going to be going and investigating other cryptids, not just Bigfoot. I'm about to go out and do a documentary on Dogman. I'm going to be doing Mothman. I will do the um, the New Jersey Devil, the flying dinosaurs of New Mexico. I will do like I want to go and look into other cryptids, other creatures, not just Bigfoot. So that's my plan. I will still always do Bigfoot or do these creatures, but I also love the mystery of other
Mystery.
animals. So obviously, if I can't get eaten by Bigfoot, I might as well try my luck with all the other cryptids.
With the canine cryptid, they'll eat you for sure.
How was Jason Kenzie? Oh, he was a good guy. Yeah, he got carried off by Mothman. God, that guy rolled the dice too many times. That was Mothman's lover.
You have life insurance, right? I hope so. You hope so. You
Maybe.
have so,
So I'm
I
going to
wouldn't
be
get
doing, yeah. So I've went out and I filmed about 3 paranormal documentaries. Actually, I've actually produced 3 paranormal documentaries. 2 of them is on YouTube, on Tubi right now,
movie.
and one is about to launch on Tubi any day now. I'm just waiting for Tubi to upload it. And then I went and filmed a couple more paranormal docs. I love, like I said, it's like a mystery. I'm still kind of a skeptic when it comes to the paranormal, but I am definitely, I want to say I'm 65% more of a believer with the ghosts and the paranormal. I don't know how many times I've been told off, like by spirits. I've had spirits, say my name. I There was a case that we just filmed oh, in Kentucky. Was it Kentucky? I've gone to so many places. I'm pretty sure it was Kentucky. We went to this haunted uh, library in this university, and we're downstairs in the dark in the basement, and no one goes down there except for 2 times a year after the summer, when the summer is about and when they end the semester or end the year, they go down. He walks in 2 feet, turns off the power, leaves. When the summer's over and they have to reboot the library or the
Mm-hmm.
university, they walk downstairs 10 feet, turn it back on, and that's it. They never go in there. They haven't been in there for like 10 years, 15 years. It is like
Wow.
dusty. It is old. And here we are in the back corner where there's no, like, just where there was no lights, no nothing. And all of a sudden we turn and we look, and there is a shadow figure next to my shadow against the
Oh,
wall. So I'm standing there and I look over. I'm like, we had a little flashlight behind us, and I thought it was a double shadow for me, because now sometimes
yeah.
you can get a
Black
double
one in the
shadow.
dark.
So I'm looking at it, and I'm like, it looks just like me. But then I went like this with my arm, and it didn't move. My arm, the shadow beside me, the arm. I started doing this, and at the same time, I'm like, guys, there is a shadow next to me. Look, I'm doing this, guys. And then they're like, they're like, oh my gosh, we see it too. And we actually was filming, and we actually caught it moving, because it was standing there next to me for about, I want to say, 15 minutes. Like, there was a lot of time to watch it. We had the dots on the wall. We had the
Wow.
lights with the dots.
Yeah, I've seen
Where
those.
my shadow was, you could see the dot. You could see where the dots were. The shadow that was next to me, the dots were gone. But the thing that
Oh, that's
freaked
a
me
big
out was doing
negative.
this. That was freaking me out, because it wasn't moving. It wasn't my shadow. Then it darted. It moved, and I almost fell over. I was like, oh my gosh. We were using on the an app called Spirit Talk, where it would talk through it, and it would scatter words. It had a big dictionary of words that the spirits can use to talk. And Chad Datema was around the corner sitting, and um, I was over by Gwendolyn, and we're sitting there, and all the way through, it said move closer. I'm like, who do you want us to move closer to? And it said, uh, sitting, sitting on the wheel. And I'm like, what? And all of a sudden we hear Chad. Oh, I think it said sitting, the wooden wheel. And we look over, and Chad's like, what did it say? We couldn't see Chad. Chad was around the corner. I said, it said sitting on a wooden wheel. He goes, I am sitting on a wooden wheel. And I go running over. I turn. It was a big spool. You know, one of those big wooden spools.
Yes.
Have the,
I've
have the,
the thread, the
yeah.
cable
And
wire.
it was broken. I think it said broken wheel. And it was a big wooden spool. He was
Oh
sitting on
man.
it in the dark.
Just
And I was like, what the hell? Out of all the words, it actually said, like, in detail, that Chad was sitting on a wheel, a broken wheel. And you could see where one of the wheels were broken. Like, it was wooden, so it
wow.
had a big crack in it. So it was hard to turn it. Like, you could push it, but it would roll about
They just
2
walk.
feet, then it would stop, because the one wheel had a big broke in it, a break. And about an hour later, we go back up to the dean of the university that was there. I said, hey, there's a big wooden spool, like a big wheel down there. Do you guys ever use it? He's like, no, 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 no. It's broken. That's what he said. I'm like, this is unbelievable. Unbelievable. But yeah, yeah, I
And
do
this
like it.
was where
So I think it was in Kentucky. I
when
think, man, I go to so many places.
God, it must suck to be
I
you.
know. I
That's-
know. Terrible. Terrible. I am so sorry.
I'm glad you caught that. Do you see an uptick in paranormal activity
An
since,
uptick. Well,
yeah, like an uptick?
only when there's a full moon, really, or when the moon is the closest to Earth, right? I mean, I believe
That's
that,
crazy.
3 o'clock, 2, 3, 4 in the morning is when the moon is the closest to Earth, and I think it does a pull, like it pulls
Mhm.
around the
Yeah,
Earth,
it's
magnetic, and I think that's when spirits are the strongest, is around that
I,
time, right?
yeah, You're correct. I know. Actually, I probably shouldn't say this, but like graves, unmarked graves, or
Yeah, yeah,
they will change during a full moon. They will the ground will sink a little bit more on a full moon, and they're easier to spot when you're a lot of okay anyway. But that's techniques that's used sometime. I don't know the details of it, but there's something about a full moon and graves. We had a crash course on that one time, and
yeah.
but I was like, yeah, that's beyond whatever. It don't apply to me. I work dogs.
Well,
I don't think
I'll
so.
make a note of that next time because I've explored a lot of graveyards in the forest and happen to get like Bigfoot uh, stuff happening around these graveyards.
That's
We even took a photo of one that stood up, uh, uh, and we were probably about 100 yards from a graveyard in the middle of the freaking forest, and we on thermal, he took a picture of uh, of it, and it stood up. At first, we thought it was like we thought it was maybe a raccoon or something on the ground, but what it was doing was on the ground looking at us, and then it stood up, and then took a
yeah.
picture, and I got that picture. I mean, the great thing about having a video camera. I mean, I would go out and I was going, I'd go out into the forest investigating without any camera gear. But I thought, well, why not
Capture.
go out there with a camera gear and just film, just film my expeditions and make a documentary at the same time. You
I
know,
think that's pretty incredible. If you ever decide you want to go to Savannah, Georgia, let me know. I can give you the perfect hookups on that, both in the Bigfoot world and paranormal. It is a
cool.
beautiful place, and the culture and the history. They have one of the oldest graveyards
Yeah.
there in on the East Coast, and I'll send you some photos.
Well, I'm about to fly off to northern Michigan to speak and to actually meet and greet uh, a Bigfoot, kind of a Bigfoot dog man um,
Mhm.
expedition out there. And the event is called the Bigfoot Dogman Meet and Greet Festival. And so that we're doing that. I think going to be on the 17th
Mhm.
or maybe the 18th. It's going to be one of those. And then after that, we're driving to the Ozark Mountains.
That's a
And then
hot
I'm
pick.
going to be doing a documentary on the Bigfoot
Um,
area.
Now the canine cryptid that people call dog man, I got away. That is actually how I come into the Bigfoot. I mean, I'm actually the a dog man person more so than the Bigfoot, but
Oh, yeah?
Bigfoot is just something that is more available and people relate more. And when my experience was born, and it's out there if you want to hear it. But the thing is, I don't embellish my experience. It was
Yeah,
just real quick. But when I first come out with my experience, 2017, Dogman, and I call it the canine cryptid now, that was not accepted whatsoever by Bigfoot They were like, no, no, no. But I've seen now the Bigfoot community is more accepting because my
yeah,
question was, how do how can you ask someone to believe in Bigfoot, but you're telling me I didn't see what I see? You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? So I
So,
think it's more accepting now.
so you live where?
North Carolina.
In North Carolina.
Mhm. Do you know where?
It would be great to like interview you in person, get your story on camera.
Well, it's boring, but you're more than welcome to. But look up the Beast of Bladenboro.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, that's where I grew up at. And if you
okay.
ever come to North Carolina, I'll take you out to the swamps where my friend had a Class A encounter. Just as friends, you document if you want to. If not, just whatever.
Oh
Just
no,
as
no. I would if I came out to interview you, we'd go on an expedition into the area. I'd make a full documentary of the whole thing. I would make a searching for Sasquatch documentary of the whole thing. I wouldn't just go come out to
Mhm.
see you and just interview you. I
Well,
want you guys to take me out to the area, maybe interview some other people, and
mhm.
make it a full fledged. hour and a half documentary of that. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Well, I tell you what, I've got a lot of people in North Carolina that's had encounters, my husband included.
See what you can do. Maybe you can bring me out, and we'll.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you go camping with us, you're going to eat black-eyed peas and bacon and everything else.
I'm good with anything with hot dogs.
Well, you started a new lifestyle change where you lost weight and got yourself all. But I saw those pictures, man. Can't hide the buff anymore now. Can't hide the buff. I think North Carolina is one of the most overlooked states.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you a place that's really very much overlooked. You hear a lot about encounters in the mountains. Coastal North Carolina has more dogman sightings in it than probably anywhere in the United States. And I must have put Michigan with it. We just don't put it out there.
Yeah.
We do sit our crazy on the porch, but it just,
allegedly, Irons, Michigan, has a lot of dogman sightings. Yes. That's where I'm going.
Michigan is a hotbed. I've met a few people that's had some encounters. But the coastal North Carolina is a very overlooked place. And there's been a lot of stuff goes on, but I will try to get you some names and some contacts and try to make it worth your while. But
we can talk about it after, another day. We'll talk about it. I'm going to be speaking at the Ozark Mountain.
It's a hotbed.
Bigfoot conference that's coming up next month, and then we're going to drive down to Louisiana and go do the Honey Island swamp monster out there.
I have someone that you would love to talk to if you're in the portals.
Is she in Louisiana?
No, it's a he in North Carolina. Yeah.
In Carolina? Do you know anyone in Louisiana?
Louisiana. I know a couple of people in Louisiana, but I don't know about a portal. I can ask some of my Louisiana people.
I would love to, if anyone out there from Louisiana would like to meet up with me and take me noodling, I would love to. I would love to try that for the documentary. So if you guys don't mind being on camera, but I would like to try that once, because if you haven't noticed in my documentaries, I also show fun stuff other than Bigfoot. Like, we'll do something fun like ATVing, or we'll do something that is, a little bit fun that people can relate to. And I thought it would be great to do some noodling when I'm in Louisiana, just for the documentary. So if you can do some research and find someone that doesn't mind.
I already got somebody for you, Pat and Joe from Louisiana.
Contact them, ask them if they would be interested. If they want to be on camera, they don't even have to be on camera. But, come out, show us. We're doing a full documentary out there, into the swamps out there. So if someone out there wants to be involved and wants to come and help out, the word is out there.
How do they get in touch with?
They can contact me on Facebook, or I have my email is, we put the email down.
We'll do that
down below. The Photo Warrior is at Gmail. They can contact me there. But Facebook Messenger is a good one. Same with there's a lot. Searching for Sasquatch.ca. That's my my website. TikTok.
You're just everywhere, man. I will make sure you get Pat and Joe's contact, and I'll let them know that you're going to. I'll also, after Saturday, I know you're going to check Saturday's show out. I will make sure you get that contact from Montana.
Yes. And it looks like my time is up here.
Yeah, no, I was about to wind you down, but you beat me to it. In closing, what would you like to put out there about yourself or your work?
I would love everyone to get out there, enjoy life. It doesn't have to be about Bigfoot. It's just going out into the forest and enjoying Mother Nature's playground, and, just, meet people around you. I'm going to be speaking at some Bigfoot events in the future. If you know I'm going to be there, come say hi. I'm more than welcome. You can find all my Bigfoot documentaries, Searching for Sasquatch, on Tubi, on Plex. Plex. You can find it on Roku TV.
Yeah.
You can find it on, there's at least
Amazon.
14. Yeah, Amazon Prime Video. You can find it there. Tubi is the best one. On YouTube, you can find a few of my Bigfoot documentaries. You can find all my animal adventures under A Photo Warrior. But like I said, just Google my name. You'll find all my interesting stuff. I have, I did a comic book
That's awesome.
called Searching for Sasquatch and the
That is
hidden treasure.
awesome.
So you can see there's the she squatchers down there.
Yes.
Tammy's being held upside down.
Poor Tammy.
There's me with the camera. That's
That's
Todd Parsons right there beside me, and then there's Dave Dominique right there. And
that is so
yeah,
clever.
so it's a graphic novel that shows
Love it.
a lot of you know
Good
just a
times
lot
with
of
good people.
so it's about an elite group of Bigfoot researchers that go into the forest to see if they can find evidence of Bigfoot. They pass through a portal into this unforsaken world where there was flying dinosaurs and there's dangers all around. And then they find all this treasure, this gold and jewels. And then this short blonde photographer guy got really greedy and wanted to like all the gold and stuff. And the Bigfoots were attacking, and we had to try and figure out how to get some of the gold and get out with our lives. And there's a twist at the very end, and there's no one dies, no one gets injured. The book is good for all ages.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
it's good for kids, but the way I wrote it was so adults can enjoy it too. It's a full graphic novel, and I made it so some words were kind of big, so the kids would be like, "Mom, Dad, what does that word mean?" Right? And they can do what I do. I just look at the word and go, to he, to the. That's a the. Okay. But anyway, yeah, people can watch. People can find it on Amazon Prime Video. Sorry, on Amazon. They can find it on. They can find it all over online, and it makes good gifts for Christmas.
It does. I think that I'm gonna let you go because I know your time is valuable. I'm very grateful that you come on the show. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
what you do for the Bigfoot
I'm
community.
so glad, and I can't wait to meet you in person.
Well, we'll make that happen, and we'll feed you black-eyed peas and bacon and steak. So, oh,
Wow, that is too kind. But I'm serious. I am fine with hot dogs and marshmallows. Must have marshmallows.
okay, we'll make marshmallows just for you, sir.
But yeah, I'm not picky. I'm a cheap date. So
My husband said just the opposite about me, but that's okay. So anyway, I think you're awesome. I thank you for the work you do,
thank you.
and more so than anything else across the board. Thank you for bringing a face to the Bigfoot community. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, you have an excellent rest of your day.
Yes, sir. You have a good day too.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.